So sometimes a game comes out that just kind of really makes you question your life. And Katana Zero could very well be that game for a lot of people. This game, very interesting game, I will say. I just finished it not too long ago. I finished it right before the Switch 2 came out. So to me, this was actually my farewell game on the Switch. But originally this did release in 2019, developed by ASCII and it was published by Devolver Digital. And this is just one of those games that was always on the back of my mind. I bought it a long time ago, just never got to play it, never had time to play it, always playing, whatever else was new or whatever entered my mind. And then, I don't know, before the Switch 2 came out, I was like having one last rendezvous with the Switch 1, and I saw it, and I was like, you know what? I don't think this game would, take too long to beat. And then I looked it up, and it takes like 2 to 3 hours or whatever. So, and I'm not going for a completionist run. So to me, I was like, you know what? This is probably perfect. So I beat it in a couple sittings. But I did not expect to like it as much as I did. I'll be honest. I like games like this. I don't play them often, but when I do, it's a treat. But what I walked away from was definitely something I didn't expect to be walking into. So with that being said, I just want to talk a little bit about the way the game looks, the way the game feels, all the mechanics. We'll get into a little bit of the story. I'll try my best not to spoil anything, and then close it off with the little review score. But yeah, I think when we talk pros and cons about this game, I think it looks fantastic. I think I really dig the atmosphere of the game. This like cyberpunky dystopian new world that they call New Mecca, and it's just when you're on the rooftops, it looks great, but that when you're down in the city streets, a lot of crap is going on, a lot of shenanigans going on, and I like that setting, honestly. And honestly, recently I've been on a really big sci-fi kick, so maybe that's why I want to talk about this game now, as opposed to like when I beat it a month ago. But yeah, I don't know. The world does it for me. I always look for worlds like this. Like Stray, the cat game, had a really cool world, and that's what drew me in. Not so much the cat, to be honest. And I really tried to dig cyberpunk, but whatever. I couldn't get into cyberpunk. But again, I respect the world. I thought it looked cool. But yeah, I just dig the atmosphere. But the atmosphere doesn't just encompass the city or the world. We're talking about the music, the time period, like the character models even. This is a 2D pixel art game, right? But the character models are so full of life that, like, I don't know, man. Like, some 3D games could really learn from this. Like, I just recently tried out Star Ocean: The Divine Force, and, like, I just feel like those character models are just lifeless. And, when I see something like this, like a 2D pixel art game, budget game, by the way, like, just deliver more on that front than this big Square Enix title, I'm kind of like, oh, man. Somewhere along the lines, something went wrong. But yeah, I don't know. And I touched on the music. It's just a great mix of like this synth, electronic kind of music. Like it's really cool. It feels like the 80s, but it also feels like the future. It's actually pretty awesome. I believe that music, I can actually tell you right now, it's on Spotify. I got the damn, I saved the playlist. But yeah, it was made by Bill Kiley and Ludowick. So look that up. It's a great soundtrack. Like even if you don't play the game, look up the soundtrack. It's awesome. It's got but yeah, I touched on the art style. The art style is really nice. It's a nice pixel game, but a lot of colors being used, and even when it's like in these dark, dingy kind of areas, it still like pops. I don't know how to explain it, but it pops. And the gameplay of this game is definitely like, it's got that approach where it's easy to pick up, but it's hard to master. You got to put hours in to really master what you're given, and I really appreciate that, because by the end of the game, I was doing things that I was not doing in the beginning, I'll tell you that. And yeah, just the overall presentation of this it just hits for me, like a futuristic samurai with amnesia, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's really cool. The only negatives I have to say about this game, honestly, and I don't know if they're so much negatives as they are wishes, I needed more like enemy variety. Like, you do have your thugs and stuff, but like a lot of them look the same, and I get that you're chasing after like a specific gang in the story, but I just wish we had a lot more enemy variety. Like, even like I think they could have done with some creatures even, you know, like I honestly feel like they didn't deliver fully on that for me, I'll be honest. I also thought, and this was teased, but different playable characters would have been nice. I like our hero that we play as, but there is a point where you do switch to someone else for like a level, and that person's playstyle is completely different, and it did it for me where I was like, okay, cool. I thought it was gonna start like that character was gonna be playable from then on, or maybe that's just the first character of many. But no, that was literally just for the story that you got to do that, because then you switch over to Zero. So I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I guess we're not getting more than that, but it's okay. I think at the end of the day, they did a good job with the character you're given. They focused in and did a lot. But what I will say, they do give you these you only use your katana, obviously, but there is like a secondary button where you pick things up from the floor, such as bottles or like flamethrowers, lamps, whatever, you know. But I kind of wish there was more weapons. Like, I wish you could maybe upgrade your katanas, maybe add guns to them or something crazy, you know. We're in the future here. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a thing. But that was kind of a letdown for me too, where like I dug the combat, but I also thought it would also evolve a little more, but it never really did. Instead, you the player kind of evolve and use that one weapon to its fullest. So I guess you could look at it like that. But yeah, I kind of wish we had more weapons. And then I would just say maybe more level variety. Like, a lot of times you're in, you know, these really dingy places, you're in a lab. There is this one level where you're at a nightclub, which was really awesome, and it was a nice change of pace, but I wish we had more things like that. I wish there was other more inventive ideas, but I can't really fault it like that. Like, you do go outside, there's like a highway level, like it's pretty cool at the end of the day. So this is just minor nitpicks. I just wish the game could have delivered a little more on what it already delivered me, which is fine. I can't really fault it too much for that. Going into the story of this game, which is what really surprised the shit out of me, you play as a samurai named Zero. He is a assassin with amnesia, and he works as a hitman for his psychiatrist in New Mecca. So there's a lot of scenes where you go see your psychiatrist. You literally walk to his office, you sit down, and you tell him about your dreams, because you're dreaming, and like this reoccurring dream keeps happening, and every time you see it, it progresses a little further, and you tell him about it. But when the session's over, he'll give you an assignment, and that's your next mission. I found it interesting right off the bat, because it's like I kind of like, I just assumed at one point I'd be like facing this psychiatrist, and I'm not gonna spoil whether you do or not, but like, you do. You do. I think it's kind of obvious from the get-go that this guy's not your friend and you're being used, but it's interesting nonetheless. He then, before you go, he pumps you with some drugs, and it's called Chronos. It basically grants you the abilities that you see in the game, so you can predict and rewind time to avoid death. And I want to talk about a little bit of the gameplay also in regards to this. It's very like you're presented the level, and you got to get through it in one go. It's a one-hit game. Like, if you get hit once, you're dead. You start the level over. But the way it's presented is all your failed attempts is what Zero is seeing in his mind as he is trying to develop the plan to move forward and get through the level. So your successful attempt is what actually happens, which it blew my mind when I realized what was going on. I was like, wow, that is such a cool way to like make you feel like not shit at the game. You know, like it's just attempts. We're just trying to like figure this out together. It's all good. I thought that was really, really interesting. Like, I've never seen anything like that. I mean, you could say like, you know, roguelikes are like that, but this was a different take on that. This was interesting. This was cool as hell. I really like that. Anyway, back to the drug Chronos. That was part of the Null project, which was to make super soldiers, which you are one. And then basically Zero is a Null agent, and he suffers from PTSD because he was in this previous war that New Mecca had just come out of. And that's why he's getting all these crazy dreams. He's nicknamed the Dragon. He's now a government assassin whose targets are involved with Chronos, either distributing them or just taking them or whatever. They have a connection to the drug. And eventually he kind of starts to question, you know, why am I going only after these guys? And that's kind of how your story starts to unravel. And that's how he unravels his past, right? Like, he just keeps questioning Why am I being assigned these missions? It makes no sense. But yeah, and then the story gets insane. A lot of like glitchy things start happening. Think Metal Gear Solid 2, like when you don't know what's real or not at some point. This game does that to you, and I felt the same way when it started happening. I was like, oh, this is some MGS2 Sons of Liberty crap.
Our employees are pleased with your work.
They're lying to Raiden.
I'm not so sure
lying to
I
Raiden.
share
In
the
this
sentiment,
case,
though.
they're lying to Raiden.
I don't know what you get.
I'm over here like
Maybe you
just I'm
could
along
answer
for
a
the
few
ride, and I'm
questions
like, man,
for me.
I don't know.
When did you start using a gun?
Like, do I kick his ass? Do I not? And then you try to kick his ass, and then the story stops.
Then
and it's
you're
like, no,
going
you
to
can't
need
do
to
that. And it's
explain
like,
the
what? And you're
bullet
just
hole in
confused.
Electronuts'
I remember
brain.
this one fight
Now.
took me forever, over and over and over again,
What?
and the whole
By
point was
whom?
basically to memorize the guy's moves. And the guy was even
That's
aware.
it,
He's
we're
like,
giving you more drugs.
he's like, I know every time I kill
Nonetheless,
you, you're just
no
gonna
Mecca is
rewind
safer
time
with one less drug
and
pusher on the streets.
like see my next move and eventually
Electrohead
get me.
told
And
me,
it was,
oh, no
it was so
that.
cool.
Drugs like the one you gave
this
me.
game's idea of rewinding time is
liquid
so
in my mouth.
unique,
Let's
and I
not
think
go.
that's why I liked it so much. Like,
What?
they had
Did
an
you speak
explanation
to
for everything. It wasn't
Electronuts?
just a mechanic
No.
that you could do. So
I specifically
I
told
don't know.
you
Katana
not
Zero,
to
man, this
speak
game
to
surprised the hell out of me. There's a lot more complex
speak to them.
aspects to the game that I'm not
Fuck.
going to get into, but
What did he say?
if you're into like just a hack and slash kind of game with like fast action and a really cool story like kind of beneath it, like play this game, man. You can get it. I got it for $20. I don't know if it's usually that price, maybe it's a little more, but it's worth it. I thought it was fantastic. Took me about 2-3 hours to beat, and I was along for the ride. Once I started it, I couldn't put it down. And I honestly feel like, especially right now in my life, it's really hard for me to stick with a game that isn't something that I'm used to. Like if a new whatever comes out, I'm gonna stick to it because I'm anticipating it. Like what's the next? I don't know. Donkey Kong Bonanza is gonna come out. I'm anticipating the hell out of that game. I know that I'm gonna buy that day one and stick with it till I beat it. But when an unknown comes along like Katana Zero, it's kind of like, okay, I'll try it, I guess. It looks cool. The trailer has to get me. The art style has to get me. Like when a new IP comes along, it's like they're trying to win you over, and this one did. And I was just kind of hoping that it wouldn't disappoint me once I actually opened it up and started playing it, and it did not. And I was along for the ride, and I loved it, man. So I recommend Katana Zero to anybody. I give this game a 9 out of 10. I know it's going to get some free DLC that they promised that's still on the way, and if it comes out, then I'm definitely back in, and I'll check it out. But yeah, what a game, man. This game was incredible. Totally recommend.